Shut up and sit down.
Welcome to the Bricks King podcast, where I'm going to bend your ear about Lego, review those amazing bricks of plastic, and discuss what is new and up and coming around the Lego world. I'm your minifig host, Matt. Let's build on it. Welcome in, everybody. How you doing today? Hopefully you were doing quite lovely. Hopefully you had a Merry Christmas, holiday, celebration, whatever you did. Hopefully you enjoyed your time with family, friends, or by yourself like my wife and I, which was absolutely incredible. It was one of the best Christmases ever that I can remember. And, I know a lot of people are like, wait, you spent Christmas by yourself? Didn't you miss your family? My family doesn't live here. It is a 22-hour drive or it's a 3-hour flight, which requires an hour drive to the airport, which requires checking in 2 hours before the flight and then waiting on the flight and then boarding to the flight. I would rather drive anyway. I would rather just drive. However, it was just her and I this year, and it was fantastic. It was quiet. It was amazing. It was wonderful. And hopefully you at least had a decent time. If not, I'm sorry. Hopefully, moving forward in 2024, it gets even better. But we have to talk about things. Hopefully, before we jump into what we're talking about today, hopefully Santa or whoever, significant other, a family member, somebody graced you with plastic bricks during the holiday season. If they did not, shame on them. No, bad human. You should always be gifting the gift of Lego. It never gets old. And I've been able to see, one of the things I love the most about this time of the year is from a Lego perspective is seeing, people show all the things that they got, right? It could have been things that they were waiting for, or maybe they went out and bought after the fact or whatnot. And it's so great to see somebody that has 5 different things that are there, and you've got the modular, you've got a winter village, or you've got, I don't know, and you name it, anything at this point in time by the end of the year, but they have all of this stuff, and it just, kind of warms your heart. You're like, oh my God, I love that feeling. It's the best ever. It really is. It really is. But of course, there's many, many other things. And then there's also the fact that I don't mean to go down a sad or depressing note, but, Lego is super expensive, and a lot of people have not had an opportunity or don't get an opportunity to be able to give it as a gift or get it as a gift. Whether you're an adult or you have a child or know a child, it can be cost prohibitive sometimes, which is kind of sad. However, enough with that kind of sad. We're moving on as we close out 2024. Oh, I lied. We're closing out 2023. I'm jumping a year ahead. Let's not, please. So we're closing out 2023 with a few shows here. We've got what we're talking about today. We've got Ninjago, and we're going to try and tie as much of the city stuff together as we can, because there's kind of 2 folds to it. So we're going to do as much as that as we can at the same time, and then break down 2023 and push on into the new year, where we can't wait to see what the new Lego products bring all the joy to all of us. So with that long intro, today I wanted to talk about an opportunity that I was given to get this beautiful set early. This falls under the Lego art. It's been a while since I've gotten any Lego art, botanicals and stuff. I love, and when I have an opportunity to receive them early, it's one of the most intricately fun but different builds, and they're just a lot of fun. These were kind of straightforward. So what I'm referring to is this falls under the Fauna collection, and I know this was something that was being kicked about years ago, maybe a year ago. There was, chat and rumblings that this was going to be a thing. And then last year we got the Parrots, but that was on the creator side. There was talk that they were going to look to go into art in a different way, not completely dump everything else, but have another offshoot to go to. And sure enough, here we are. So they are called the Macaw Parrots. This set will be available on the 1st of January. So you've got, I think at the time of this recording, you got 4 or 5 days, and it's going to retail for $60. Pretty good. $60, 60 euros, 644 pieces. The set number is 31211. Both of these are 2 different builds. They have some similarities as far as I would say technique would be the biggest thing. However, I was kind of impressed with their size. With the art stuff, you kind of, sometimes you're like, is it going to be like this big old thing? Like, I've got my world map hanging on the wall next to, all of my stuff right here. And, you have a rough idea for size like that, or, some of the other big art panels, that have been done in the past. And then, the box for this, I was like, okay, it's not super huge, but the big thing that makes them large is the wingspan, especially of the pink one here. So that's the first one that I wanted to talk about, because this one was the most repetitive because the wings are extended. So there is a lot of pink in this. You have pink and you have teal are your two main colors here. Obviously you have an orange beak and then the little yellow right behind the beak, which was done in cool yellow. Anyway, so this is a 3-layered build. And the reason it is 3-layered is to give you some depth. That is one of the things that I have appreciated, that the Lego art theme has gone slightly in a different way. Instead of just having all these tiles and 1x1 plates, they're going and they're adding some depth to it. I think the first time we saw it was with was it with the lips? I can't remember if that was the first one or not. However, so they have definitely gone and done it in a different way. They're pushing in a different way. And like I said, I'm appreciative of that. So your top layer of this is the body and the head of this pink macaw parrot here. And like I said, you have the orange beak. There are a lot of curved pieces, a lot of sloped pieces that are in here. Obviously, you're trying to get a certain shape. Now, it is kind of rigid in some spots. You're kind of like, well, I wish that were softened a little bit. But you also have to take into account what is readily available and what is not. There are only so many parts that are made in pink, so many different elements that are made in pink, so many different elements that are made in teal or in cool yellow, which we'll talk about with the other bird. So you have to take that into consideration. But the wings extend very, very far, and that is the next part that we're going to talk about here. That is the second level, and it is the second level of depth, and then it's also attached to the third level of depth with some plates along the top. So this is where you have the top end of the feathers of the wings that are extended, and this is an inverted build here. So, and I forgot to mention this, but the body and the head, everything is built just stacked on top of each other, and then you flip it and it's a sideways build essentially after that. This is a little bit different because it's upside down in the way that they, again, trying to get texture, and I lost a part of my feather, some of the texture and stuff that you want. So then on the third level of depth, what we have the bottom tail feathers that are down here. And all of these are clipped in. They are almost all identical, all of these feathers in general. But obviously you get out a little bit further along in the wings, they're going to change a little bit closer. You have shorter feathers, just like on the real birds themselves, or any real bird in general. They don't all have the same exact wing structure the entire way through. So the tail feathers are able to move. Your center one is locked into place, but you can kind of splay them out or group them together. That is completely up to you. They're attached to a big giant brick build assembly, which is attached on the back side of the body. The teal feathers, though, that are absolutely gorgeous in the way that they are done. They are attached, again, upside down here, but they are attached in a way with clips. But the problem with this is the tolerances are so narrow. When you finally get all these clipped into place, there is no movement in these. And that's exactly what happened here when I just popped that one off. The 1x1 or 1x2 modified plate that has a clip on it, where you clip these feathers into, the tolerances are so tight that any kind of rigid movement is going to pop this off. So you have to kind of be careful when you're maneuvering this thing about. And it does have some flex to it because you're talking about 3 different levels. And while they are all attached in a certain way, they are not attached like, stud to stud or stud the hole or anything like that. They're attached by pins and connections of Technic. So you have to deal with that. Now on the back side of this, I guess if you want to call it the last level of depth, which would be 4 bricks deep, is your picture hanging. So So this one has two picture hanging pieces on it, one on each side of the head, so that you can hang your bird on the wall if you so choose. I don't really know what else you would do with it if you didn't hang it. Ideally, I guess that would be the idea behind it, to hang it on the wall because it is art. So you do have those. They are clipped into a Technic assembly, which is connected into the main body of the bird. There's a whole lot of thickness that is in here with Technic parts and pieces to be able to get that, again, rigidity and stuff like that. And then coming off of the edge of the hanger pieces, you have some teal Technic beams, and all those are doing is allowing more rigidity there in the portion of the wings that are closer to the body, so that it holds that structural integrity. You gotta think when you build a Lego set and you sit it out, and over time, with especially here, I've noticed in Texas, the temperature changes really kind of mess with things. And what they tend to do is, with the hot and the cold, hot and cold, hot and cold, and it doesn't matter whether your house is cooled or climate controlled or not, which they are here, you still have that, again, a tolerance there where, it might be 78 degrees in here versus what it is right now. And it's like 64 in here, so things move and shift ever so slightly. And if you've ever gone and taken a Lego set and you've sat it out, and you come back to it in, I don't know, let's say a month and a half or something like that, and you can kind of hear like a creak, almost like I can't quite explain it. You know what I'm talking about, because you go to touch it, and what has happened is some of the pieces have just gently separated. Nothing that is even really noticeable to the eye, but everything is kind of, moved in a certain different way. And again, it is plastic, so it is pliable, it is moldable, and especially when you get into extreme temperatures, that is definitely going to change some things. However, that is part of the reason I think why they had to add that structure in there, because things are definitely going to sag and move. With this, I don't think the wings are really going to sag that much, but if you're hanging this on a wall over time, I think there's going to definitely be some kind of strength challenges as it moves along, but nothing that you have to be like, oh, I'm going to put it on the wall and it's going to fall off. No. That's not going to happen at all. So I like the way this bird is done. Like I said, it's kind of repetitive with the wings, the feathers, just because, the wings are built identically in every single way other than on the right-hand side, because I guess they're trying to give a depth of the bird, and maybe from a certain angle, the feathers that are on the right-hand side, looking at it from the front, are thicker and longer than the ones to the left. The only thing that I can think of is they're going for a certain image, a certain look. But what I mean by repetitive build is the feathers on the left, for the most part, are all identical. The feathers on the right, for the most part, are all identical. It's like 8 or 10 of them that you build at a shot, and they are all the same. So then we move on to our cool yellow buddy here. I love this guy. Again, built in stages, in depths, and this one is 3 bricks deep. This guy has a cool yellow body, and he's got some teal. He's got some teal on the bottom of his feather that is on the furthest, what do you want to call it? The furthest depth layer. There we go. The layer that is closest to us as you hold it. Then the rest of his body is cool yellow. He's got a, not magenta. Is it? It's not magenta. His nose, I can't think of what it is. It's that pinkish color. Anyway, he's got that pinkish color for his beak, his little nose there. And he's got a really different colored, like the other macaw had the cool yellow on the inside of the beak, just that ever so slight area where you kind of can see through. This one has that really kind of super like unique color that is very rarely used. I actually had to look it up because I was not 100% sure. It is that aqua color, which we don't have a ton of pieces for. So when you get pieces for it, you're kind of like, oh, I don't think any of these are new to aqua. Without consulting New Elementary, I'm not 100% sure. However, inside that beak, you have that aqua little slope that is there. Same color eye, that black eye, just real simple, nothing printed or anything. And then you move down to the third layer. And the third layer comprises of 2 different things. It comprises of the bottom super long wing / tail. And then it also comprises of a branch as well that comes out on each side. So the tail bottom end of this puppy is, made up of cool yellow around the outside, and then you have that teal that is in the middle. And I'm a big fan of the way this was done. You do have some gaps in here to kind of, like a real bird wing feather. If they're sitting there, you could potentially see through some of the feathers. So that is really nice. Anyway, your twig, stick, branch, whatever you want to call it, that he or she is standing on, is orange. It's made up of orange Technic pieces here. We have some beautiful little flowers here of that magenta sort. It's not magenta though. I swear it's not magenta. And I looked for this color and I could not find it. I could not find the name of it. However, so we have that. Then we move along. You have the cool yellow. No, not cool yellow. The aqua. There's so many colors going on here. You have aqua plant pieces here, and you have aqua leaf pieces. And the aqua leaf pieces are those that have the 1x2. It's a 1x2 modified plate, essentially, that is attached to this leaf element and has a little line down through the center of it as it falls. So you have a bunch of those, and I swear this is the first time we have seen these. So you've got 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. You've got a lot. There's a lot here. So you've got 12 of those pieces. That's nice to be able to have. And then you have just little budding flowers and stuff in certain spots and whatnot. So I love the way that is done. You have some that are sticking out directly towards you. You have some that are pointing down. You have some that are pointing away from the bird. So you have a bunch of different ways to be able to pose things. And those are just clipped into place onto the branch using that weird little, it's a little T-bar is what I call it. It can receive, it's just a little bar. And then it has that little kind of circular knob that is in the very center of it where all three little bar attachments collide. So you have that little T-bar that they use there to be able to move these little flower pieces around, which is nice. The only gripe that I have about this, I forgot to totally mention on the back. On the back side of this thing, your picture hanger, you only have one. It is just upside of the head, just below the head. And so you do have that in there. The only side that I am not a big fan of with this is there are 3 specific spots. The leaves on the far left, the leaves on the far right, and the leaves that are in the middle of the right branch. They have that nasty Technic dark bluish gray pin head sticking out. It's ugly. I hate it. Now I had gone round and round and I was like, okay, is there another way that this could be done? Is there another part that, that could have been put on here in the same color, in that aqua color? I don't really know. So the last thing that I wanted to mention about this was that there are a lot of these long, really elongated slope pieces. They are used for the tails. They are used for the feathers. They are used for everything, especially in this build, but also in the other bird as well. And they're just that one brick width wide, but they're super duper long. And it's just this nice, slow, curved slope. And it only attaches at the top of it, it only attaches by 2 studs to the whatever brick or plate you're attaching it to that is below it. I am a big fan of the way these pieces accent these birds. Really impressed with how it was done. The buildup of these is simple in its making. It really is. You have a few layers. You stack these builds up. You build on the side, whatever, and then you just stack them all together. Boom, 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 boom. You pin them all into place and done. I like the builds for what they are as art. They are different. I appreciate Lego going, somewhat of a slightly different route. It is definitely improved, in my opinion, how, you can experience art and stuff like that. Some people just want something unique and different. I don't really have any kind of complaints other than the 2 that I'd mentioned. One was the dark bluish gray on the cool yellow parrot, Macaw parrot, and then the other one was the tolerances, the tightness of the feathers on the wings on the pink one. that is the only real issue. No, I wouldn't even say real issue. That is the only thing that bothers me. You could call the first one maybe an issue, but can I get over looking over the dark bluish gray? Absolutely 100%. Yes, that's not a deal breaker for me. It's just there. So I have reserved a spot on my wall to hang them. And by the time you're hearing this, they will have been hung. So hopefully I can get some photos out there for anybody to see. But it's nice because you can hang them however you would like, honestly. The one is going to kind of be a pain in the butt because it has 2 picture hanging hooks. I hate that. You've got to be so precise, and it's not super hard to be precise. It's just a pain in the butt. It really is a pain in the butt to do. So other than that, I think these are a nice little set. $60 I think is okay. It's probably not the best deal that is out there considering what you are paying for, sub 700 pieces, but it seems like that is about where most things are priced based on this kind of thing. I always come back to chunky bricks, chunky plastic. Chunky plastic always costs more. And you have a lot of those really long slopes. That's going to decrease your part count, which increases, or your price is still going to be there. So it's all kind of relative with this set because you do have a lot of those long pieces, those really long slopes. You're paying for it one way or the other. Whether you get a bunch of 1x1 little tiles like on the map, or you get a bunch of these big chunky pieces, you're paying for it pretty much the same. That's why I said I don't think 60 is horrible, but I think a lot of you are going to look at it and say $60 for a pair of birds. Why? Well, that's why. Because if you look and you're like, it's 644 pieces, but these are what the pieces are comprised of. These are what the parts make up this little buddy here, then you'll understand. So hopefully that'll give you some kind of reference moving forward if you so choose to purchase this when it becomes available here in the next few days. So I'm going to wrap this thing up. I'm going to go hang up my birds. So until we meet again, I'm your minifig host, Matt. Let's belt on it.